Hello and welcome to Ex-Witness Awake. I hope you're doing well today. I know I am. So we got a early Christmas present. I don't have a Christmas hat, so just pretend I'm being festive that way. So anybody who's been following what's been going on in Norway has probably seen Tony Morris post this on jw.org.
We have another exciting update regarding freedom of worship. As Jesus foretold in Matthew 10:22, we face much opposition. Jesus said, "And you will be hated by all people on account of my name." To assist Jehovah's people, we have recently established the Freedom of Worship Office at the Central Europe branch. This headquarters department will coordinate our efforts to defend our worship in Europe. Now, you might be wondering, the work has been established throughout Europe for many years, so is this really needed? Yes, it is. For example, recently the government of Norway decided that Jehovah's Witnesses would no longer receive certain state benefits that are provided to all registered religions. Here to explain more about this is Brother Jørgen Pedersen.
We were shocked when we received a letter from government authorities in Oslo, Norway, threatening to remove our registration as a religious community. Jehovah's Witnesses have been actively preaching the good news in Norway for more than 120 years. In fact, Jehovah's Witnesses suffered for their faith under the Nazi occupation of Norway during World War II. Commenting on how Jehovah's Witnesses were the only religious group who stood firm against the Nazis, a previous minister for religion exclaimed, "People throughout the country should know about this. Especially young ones would benefit from this information." We've always been known as good citizens. In fact, a public report stated that Jehovah's Witnesses are careful to obey the laws of the land. Now they've suspended our grants, while there are over 700 religious communities who continue to receive such state benefits. This decision is unconstitutional and an unprecedented attack on religious freedom in Norway. With the assistance of the newly established Freedom of Worship Office, we're pursuing legal remedies. At the same time, we're pursuing dialogue with government officials, and we pray that this situation will be amicably resolved.
Thank you, Brother Pedersen. The authorities in Norway have threatened to remove our legal registration because of our scriptural beliefs and practices regarding disfellowshipping. In the future, various governments will challenge our freedom of worship. They may pressure us to change our scriptural beliefs, but we're certainly not going to do that. As Brother Pedersen mentioned, efforts are being made to address this issue. In the meantime, please make it a matter of prayer.
So, of course, this is something that's hit the organization in the pocketbook because they lose out on about $1.5 million of subsidies in the country of Norway. But they were given an ultimatum, essentially a time limit, to rectify the situation that caused this loss of funds. And as we just saw, Tony said, "We're not going to do that. We're not going to change our policies." Well, consequences, Tony, consequences. It was just posted in our Apostate Coalition Discord, a member who wishes to remain anonymous, the information that was posted by the Norwegian government on the status of Jehovah's Witnesses in the country. It is, of course, in Norwegian. Norwegian? I think that's the language. He graciously posted a translation in English that I can read to you. So here we go. It reads, "We send a notice to Jehovah's Witnesses about the possible loss of registration on the 25th of October this year. In the notice, we asked for feedback on whether they wanted to rectify the conditions that led to the refusal of state subsidies. The community has not wanted to correct the conditions that led to the denial of state grants in 2021, and they expressed that they still disagree with the decision to deny grants. Earlier this year, Jehovah's Witnesses were denied state funding for 2021 due to a breach of the Religious Communities Act. In our opinion, the religious community violates the members' right to freedom of expression. We believe this violates the members' right to freedom of religion. We also believe that they violate children's rights by allowing the exclusion of baptized minors and by encouraging members to socially isolate children who do not follow the religious community's rules. According to the Religious Communities Act, a community can have its registration withdrawn if they violate the provisions of the law. we have come to the conclusion that Jehovah's Witnesses violate the members' right to free expression of religious communities and that they violate children's rights. On this background, we have come to the conclusion that the society cannot be registered under the Religious Societies Act. We believe this corresponds to the provisions of the Religious Communities Act. Loss of registration means that the community no longer has the right to submit claims for state subsidies. It also means that society loses the authority to marry. They are nevertheless free to practice their religion and their activities regardless of public registration, as the Religious Communities Act is essentially a subsidy act. I don't want to forget to thank all the ex-JW activists who had a part in this. I believe Goat Lake Personality has had a part as well as others. He's just the one that comes to mind because he's more well-known. But we thank you for all that you do and for the positive effect you're having on Norway and hopefully eventually the rest of the world. So what does this mean for the world at large? Well, it's not a good look for the Jehovah's Witnesses, for the governing body, because one nation has decided that they no longer qualify because of their treatment of children. Will this set a precedent in the world for other nations to follow suit? Remains to be seen, but it's a step in the right direction. So Merry Christmas, Tony. Thanks for the present. I guess if you decided to work with the government, you could have avoided this, but here we are. Thankfully, this will still mean that Jehovah's Witnesses can still practice their religion in the country, but it does hit the pocketbook, and as I mentioned before, it's a bad look for the governing body, because the people should have the right to practice their religion if they're not hurting anybody. And not being able to get married in a kingdom hall with an elder, and instead of having to go down to City Hall to get married, is going to be something that the brothers and sisters in the country are going to notice. So hopefully this will have the effect of waking people up in Norway who haven't been realizing what's been going on, and also the worldwide community at large. So thank you for watching. We'll keep our eyes open and see if there's more developments happening anytime soon. Hopefully, we'll have to report that other countries have decided to tell the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, you can't do that. You can't shun children. Anyway, happy holidays to anybody out there, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.